MIDI and electronics teacher from school.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Yeah,
that's a
so
small
I was in
world.
TSM. I was still I was with TSM till 2021 December,
Okay.
which is the last that I taught. Yeah,
Okay.
after that break.
Okay. So now you tell me, like, in your experience of, like, you've done a lot of things. You've taught, you've played, and you've taught in bigger schools as well. Okay.
Hmm.
Do you think teaching is really necessary to get a foundation, like financial foundation, to play with?
Uh, that's a very good question. My answer is no.
No.
I've always believed this. Yeah, my answer is no. Because like a lot of I believe like I'm using myself as an example, and I'm fully open to being like called up later to answer questions or to be proven I'm wrong also.
Mm,
I'm totally okay with this. But uh, I think that when we learn, we kind
mm,
of learn for a reason, right? Everything that we learn, there is whatever reason, whether it's peer pressure or whether it's to look cool or whether it's to impress people, whatever the reason is, there is a
mm.
reason behind it. Um, Not every person who learns anything is a good teacher, right?
Correct.
They may be the best learner there is, but you're not the best teacher because that's a skill set that's very different, that to
Right.
understand something that deeply may come to you very early in life or may not come to you at all. You may
Oh,
completely miss the boat,
correct.
right? So
Yeah.
to rely on teaching to make a foundation is right now the easiest way out
Yeah.
for
That's what I.
people because so many people want their kids to learn music, right? And there is a lot of requirement for this.
Correct.
But the question is, are you doing justice by being a teacher? Like that's the thing. Like it's definitely paying the bills, but what about that question that thing saying, man, is it like worth me being here, or is it like what is it that I'm bringing unique here?
Correct.
Like because if you're going to go teach them G, C, D, F, that anybody can do. Right, anybody can do and YouTube can do this now,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So I guess like to answer that question, it's simple way, like I said, no,
No.
it's not. Uh,
But let's say if somebody wants to become a musician, just they're just out of music school in India, or let's say in Bangalore.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
What do you think they should do first?
Network. That's the most important thing. Like as an artist today, and I'm sure any day, minus the social media, minus all of the plus points of our dear little friend here,
Mm,
uh, as yourself, what are you worth? Like like you go back years, like you
mm,
say, oh, Bob Dylan wasn't a great singer. Like, he wasn't. Even he knows this, right?
mm.
Even he knows this. But Bob Dylan was one of the best poets to have to have lived to be living now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
no.
or you say like, oh, Steve Vai is not a really good drummer, but man, Steve Vai is one of the greatest guitar players there are.
Correct.
Like, or you might say like, oh, Dave Weckl is not a really good percussionist. Doesn't matter, man. He makes up
This-
playing drums. Like
He
so.
does.
That's the thing. He does more than enough. And even today's age, you see, like for example, what's that guy? Tony Royster Jr.
Mm.
Right? You remember like how many in the last 10 years? How many videos of him you've seen? Right?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him, I think, from a kid, like videos from a kid, right? I know, yeah,
Right? Right?
yeah.
But today he plays with who? How many people know this? Where if
There's,
he's that good, where is his own expression of
yeah.
things? So this might be taken the wrong way. What I mean by his own expression of things, not everyone needs to have their own solo album. This is not what I'm saying.
No, no, I know.
His expression is what he's doing. He loves playing where he's playing. That's his thing.
That's his thing.
And nobody does a better job than him at those shoes. Like, where's that other guy? I forget it. The guy with the neon sticks. I
No,
forget it. Really
I
fast.
don't know his name. Yeah, I know what whom you're talking
Uh,
about, but I don't know his name.
uh,
No.
so it's a similar thing. It's like, what do you bring to the table? Like, you have to have like some level of virtuosity, on some level as an artist, no? You
Correct.
just can't say, I have drawn a straight line. It's the best straight line in the world. That doesn't work.
Hmm.
because you can put this and all the same straight line. You know, like
Hala, I get it. So, but when he comes, no, like, okay, so what do you think is the best way to start networking? Attend gigs?
attend gigs for sure. Definitely, like go and talk to people for sure.
Hmm.
Make yourself like a demo CD or whatever of whatever that is you're doing. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter how good, bad, ugly it sounds.
Hmm.
It's irrelevant. Go and put yourself out there. Like go
Yeah.
there and say, "Hey man, this is me. This is
Hmm.
what I do."
Hmm.
Because when you take that step forward, no, people start getting curious. It's like, "Oh, okay, it's okay." It's like, "Wow, okay," and then
Hmm.
you 10 times you do it, you may not get a call back. Okay, 15 times you do it, you may not get a call back. 25 times you do it, one guy will call, one
Hmm.
person will call back. That's all you need. You just need one little
Hmm.
foot,
But
like in the door.
hmm.
Like that's it. Like, and then you can start building and do whatever else you want, because that one connection
Hmm.
will lead you to a bunch of more connections.
Hmm.
So I just go and say, "Hey man, this is me. I sell
Me?
a remote. This is me. This is what
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get." Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure there's a huge chunk of musical population that no one's ever heard of that
Hmm.
are insanely good at it,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
that is it. Like similarly, like language, right? Like there might be like so many insane books that are written by people, right? But it's kept to themselves or within one family or whatever,
Hmm.
and it never gets out. So this,
Yeah.
I guess, exists in like every field, I guess, or every type of life.
Hmm. But here you want to just show what you're capable of, basically.
Yeah, if you want to be out there and if you want to see, one thing we know, Pranav, is as a musician, no, the biggest thrill you get is playing with other people. That's the
Correct.
biggest thrill you get.
Yes.
Right? You can play solo gigs, you can play all of it, it's fun. But playing with humans is indescribably the best possible feeling you can get as an artist.
Correct.
Right? Full stop. It
Full
is, it
stop.
is, it is that. That's it. Whether you play mistakes or whether you play the best gig of your life, that is a different
Doesn't.
feeling later on.
Right.
But playing, so if that is your goal and
Hmm.
you want to get out there and play with people,
Hmm.
you have to go there and like put your hand out saying, "Hi, this is me."
Hmm.
Like, otherwise, how?
That is very difficult, Allah. ಒಂಥರ.
Yeah, it's very hard to how do I say this? It's very hard to actually get a footing to understand why you're doing this.
Hmm.
Because I do believe that half the answer in doing things is if you answer the word why,
Hmm.
the rest of it is easier because you already know what the reason behind you doing it is.
Hmm.
If you want to express, like, if you're feeling really happy or really sad or really, I don't know, whatever, and you want to express this,
Hmm.
and you put all that feeling into like one single thought of creation,
Hmm.
it is bound to get people to notice. Whether you paint, draw, write a poem, make music, um, I don't know, go and talk to people about it. It's the same. People will listen because honesty always cuts through, like,
Okay.
you know.
Hmm. All right. So, I have seen you. I mean, I see you now as being successful. I mean, I'm sure you might not. I
Mm,
don't know, but I see you as being successful as a musician, right? So,
mm.
which skill of yours do you think helped you the most to get
Networking.
here? Networking.
Networking.
Yeah.
So my biggest flaw in life is I am an introvert. I
Hmm.
don't talk to people.
Hmm.
For me to break that bubble and take up responsibility with all these shows and to arrange all of this and to say, yes, man, this is the right way to do it.
Hmm.
That took all of one gig to, it just something like, it was like my first jazz gig I played with the bass,
Hmm.
was with Sid Jacobs. And Sid gives me
Hmm.
30 charts. He says, here, play. I was like, huh? Where? What? He said, play. Don't worry, I got your back. Play. Just play. You can read, play. I trust
Hmm.
you. That entire confidence level of not having done this before kind of shattered in one gig. The whole thing went completely shattered in one gig. And then I
Hmm.
was like, oh, so everybody is learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
That we don't see. We always think, oh, bro, he's doing great. He knows everything. But I'm sure that they are also learning, even when they're playing and
Oh yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Hello? Do you think that
absolutely.
is a barrier for people to not go and talk to other people? So, for example, if you are doing great, somebody in the audience who wants to be a musician will not want to come and talk to you because he thinks of himself as very less.
Or thinks of himself of being greater.
Oh,
There's two sides.
that is. I'm talking
That's
about
also
people
true.
who want to become musicians.
Yeah. So this inferiority thing that you're talking about is very true. I had it for the longest time. I still have it.
Mm,
Whenever I walk into a jam room and I see people play, I'm like, wow.
mm,
Like, do I sound like that when I play? Because it sounds damn good.
mm.
But then again, that's, I guess, uh, I don't know, a psyche that for us, we're not very used to this, man, to be honest. Come on. School,
Mm.
etc., etc.
Where?
This kind of this kind of thought process was almost alien, right? It was there.
Correct.
It was there. I'm not going to say it was not there and blame, oh, school did this, school
Mm,
did that. But it was never brought up like saying, like, man, the one thing that will matter is the person you are. And
correct.
then comes the rest of it,
Correct.
like, so uh, this inbuilt energy that we develop, I guess, most of us develop, not all of us. I'm pretty sure there's a huge bunch of people who are way smarter than I was in school, for sure. I was a numbnut in school, bro. I was a
Mm.
complete numbnut. Like, yeah, yeah, fully. So it was so hard. So like when you see something better,
Mm,
it's like, oh, I want it. Oh, I want
mm.
it. Oh, I don't have it. When I don't have it, how do I, can I even talk to this thing? Is it possible?
Correct.
So, that's I guess it's a deeper psychological thing that you're asking. It's a very interesting and a very, very, very good question you're
But I've
asking.
seen that in most people that when they get out of a normal music school, they've learned a little bit, and they want to go and talk. They have this inferiority complex of, oh, okay, I don't know anything. What will I ask this guy?
Yeah,
How will the guy talk? You know
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
has
yeah.
always been there.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, I mean, like any kind of schooling that you get, I specifically am using the word schooling and not
Mm,
education. Any kind of schooling you get basically aligns you to the thought process of the school,
mm,
right? That's the whole idea of schooling, right?
mm,
So you're going to MI, Berkeley, to The Hague, to, I don't know, ABRSM, to like London, Trinity, whatever. They all have a particular methodology which they follow. Because at the end of that funnel is
mm,
a result, right?
mm,
Which is measurable.
mm.
So that is what schooling is. And schooling doesn't represent education at all, for me
Correct.
at least, personally. Education is, you have all this. Great. Now what?
Know what?
Like, now what? Like, it's like, yes, you've gotten all this now. What are you going to do with all of this?
Correct.
Right? Like, I mean, you can learn how to play with hands, elbows, this, that, all of that, right? But now what?
What are you going to do with it? Yeah.
Yeah. Learning anything is a good thing. That's what I feel like. Having, like, on one side, like best example, right? Like, take for example, Nuno Bettencourt, right? Nuno
Mm,
Bettencourt, and he's the guitar player for Extreme, wrote
okay.
all these songs. Like, he's toured with someone on the likes of Christina Aguilera on one
Mm,
side, okay,
right.
and then he plays like in Extreme and writes these insane guitar solos, which like they release an album after like I think 15 years, 16 years, and that's like the best guitar solo that has existed in the last 16 years, right? Like essentially, he's that kind of a guy. And like he did this interview with Rick Beato, like where he talks about like, man, why? Like, why I didn't do it. He actually talks about this process and how his thought process is, things like that. And that's the bigger picture, right? It's like saying like, because I play with Christina or whoever it is that you play with, it doesn't hurt for you to know 100 other things that you can do kept in your trick bag.
Correct.
Right. It's
Yeah.
not needed at that gig. Nobody needs for you to like play six finger tapping or like not needed. That gig probably requires only one power chord, right?
Mm, yeah.
But if you believe in that music and that power chord, that is all. The rest of the things you have are in your trick bag, which you can unleash at any point. right?
Correct.
So whether it is me learning, like I was telling you, I'm still trying to learn paradiddle. I'm still trying to learn this. But for
Mm.
me, this directly relates to playing guitar, like where I can just take that same paradiddle exercise and do this. It's the same thing, right? Like you
Yeah.
just apply the same logic, but that doesn't mean I can go to a Lucky Ali gig and do
Correct.
this on
Do
every
this
song.
on every song. Yeah, that's true.
Like, right?
So Raghu, now tell me
Yes.
tell me about a day in your life. How does it what does it look like?
Oh wow. So it's again very so I one thing I suffer from is what I like to call lack of routine syndrome.
Okay.
LORS.
Hmm.
But the LORS is from a very social standpoint that I say.
Okay.
So generally, like most days, I am home. I
Hmm.
kind of sit here
Hmm.
first thing in the morning, have coffee, go through songs, listen to some stuff, um, try to find out new tech on the internet, research
Hmm.
on systems, research on how to solve problems that are created by situations, all musical speaker oriented stuff. And then suddenly I'll come across something that is very cool, and that goes pretty much sometimes that is the end of my day. Right? Everything goes in that. Everything goes in it. Like so, it could also be I'll come here, sit and play something, and I realize, wow, this could be something, and I'll end up making one full song.
Hmm.
Uh, and that can happen. But
Okay.
now nowadays I'm trying to be a little more focused, not so haphazard
Okay.
with things. Where I'm trying to say that at least 4 days of the week out of 7, the 3 being the days that I end up having gigs always,
Hmm.
for which is like that's a whole different routine.
Hmm.
But if I'm here, I try as much as possible to go for a walk, to go out for some time,
Okay.
get some physical activity in, get out of this room,
Hmm.
get out of this chair, not end up having back problems when I'm older, which
Hmm.
I possibly might. Uh,
Hmm.
but pretty much it, and the whole day goes sometimes like in just tuning all these fellows that you see.
Hmm.
And sometimes I've spent one full day trying to play home. 4 days back, I was playing.
Hmm.
What is it? That one note to get
Hmm.
that in tune, like to get it to A flat. I was for the whole day. I sat with the piano, played A flat, played,
Played.
put tuner, recorded, played. This went
Played.
on for like for many hours, like just
Hmm.
one note.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, it's very varies. It very varies. There is really no set routine in life except I
Hmm.
try to make sure that I kind of fall asleep by 12 o'clock, 12:30 with like the
Okay.
insane touring schedule that we've had. Not insane. I've heard of more crazy ones, but over the last 4 months, we have been out almost every weekend.
Oh, okay.
And I've been getting only 2, 3 days at home, not that
Okay.
much time to do anything.
Hmm.
So the time that I have been spending, I've been like now actively trying to say, oh, I may have to like spend a little more time doing this, a little less time doing that, etc.,
Hmm.
etc. Instead of procrastinating,
Hmm.
I said, okay, I'm going to set aside this time and
Right.
I'm going to do nothing between 7 o'clock and 8:30. Nothing, no
Nothing.
phone, nothing. Just sit and just observe. Just slow,
Correct.
slow down, calm down. Like one doesn't have to actively engage in your environment all the time.
Correct.
Like
Yeah,
uh,
it's true.
so these are things I'm taking a lot more seriously now.
Hmm.
As to saying that when there's enough amount of stress points in life that
Hmm.
exist,
Hmm.
I don't need to be a stress point for myself.
Correct.
So now I'm trying to follow this like to a point like where I'm kind of succeeding. On
Okay.
some weeks I succeed, some weeks I miserably fail,
Hmm.
but I try. I try.
Okay.
This I do try.
That's nice. And are you working on an album or something of yourself?
Yes, there is been like I don't know. So like I've always wanted to write music with the people that I know because a lot of people I know are musicians,
Hmm.
and slowly it's coming to fruition where I'm able to work with one people trying to do stuff. But
Hmm.
my own album probably will take more time because I need to still find uh, a deeper meaning to engage all the technicality.
Correct.
There are 4 songs that are done,
Hmm.
that are finished, which I can release as singles, but I think it's part of a bigger story and it
Hmm.
needs more thought process. So when it happens, it will hopefully sometime soon.
Hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, do you believe that whether it's an album or a person itself, do you think the story that he wants to, what do you say, story that he wants to portray,
Hmm.
uh, gives him the confidence and everything about what he wants to do and how you want to sell your music? Do you want me
Mm,
to put it in some other? Do you want me to
no,
put it
no,
some other way?
no. What you're saying, what makes me go is because it's also a really, really good question. Do like okay, I think like that even if your story is nothing and you
Hmm.
want to put it out there, that thought has to come from within, right? Like that you want to put it out there, right?
Oh, okay, correct. Yeah,
You might not have anything to say, but you have recorded all of this stuff, and it
hmm.
has no particular meaning or it is all imaginative or whatever. But that is for you to decide. And I don't think anybody should influence or can influence this thought, right?
Hmm. Right.
Um, so to put it out there, like, I guess there is the person, the music is made by the person, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But the person has to exist as a part of the music. The person can't be all the music.
So you mean to say the person has to be the music's story?
Mm, can be that's existing in the music,
Hmm.
or you could be like a part of the music. Like a really good friend of mine released an album, two albums actually. This guy Anthony Muthuraja, like
Hmm.
he's
Okay.
played everything on those albums. He's a phenomenal drummer. He's a phenomenal.
Hmm.
I actually picked up bass looking at him play bass in my house, and he
Hmm.
wasn't a bassist. Like
Hmm.
so,
Okay.
like that's the he's a really 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 phenomenal guy. He stays in New York now.
Hmm.
So like the albums he's put out is all him, right? He's played everything on most of the songs, okay?
Hmm.
But his identity is unique because you can see where his influences are coming from, even though he's played everything,
Hmm.
but you can really pinpoint, like, man, that is him.
Hmm.
So he's a part of that entire album.
Correct.
Though he has influences from everything, it is him
Correct.
that has connected all those dots, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That is needed. Like that, without that connection, you can say nothing. You can just
Correct.
go online and just like say nothing and release it. Today it's that easy in whosoever style you want, right? But
Hmm.
that existence of you in the music, because music is a much bigger world, right?
Correct.
It's a much bigger universe,
Right.
and you can't be all of it. It's not
Hmm.
possible. It's not possible for you have to like allow it. By what I mean by you can't be all of it is like I'll release an album, Pranav.
Hmm.
I can't force you to like the album. I can't.
Correct.
No, you best friend, brother, family, whatever it is you are. I can't force my own mother to like the album. She will because son, all that connection.
Hmm.
But I can't force them to anyone to like what I put out.
Correct.
That interest will come from like how people relate to it, and if you relate to it,
Hmm.
people will relate to it. You know,
Right.
and that's the beauty of it, right?
Right.
So that's why I went when you asked. Like that was my.
Yeah. Correct. That's why I have heard some people say that when you write a song or, I mean, record a song or whatever, first you should really love it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Only then I think if you don't like it, why would you expect other people to like it? I mean, it might be really
exactly.
technical and might sound great technically and all that. But if the composer or the guy himself who's playing it doesn't like it, he shouldn't
Mhm.
be expecting other people to like it as well.
Yeah,
Huh?
like absolutely. I think as an artist, the first pride should be your creation. Like that's
Mm,
irrespective of like you can make a song in I don't know, 2316 meets 17.75 over 3.74, whatever, like, whatever complicated maths you want to put out in your head musically.
Hmm.
But if you yourself don't link to it and you're
Hmm.
like, yeah, I can do it in my sleep, this is nothing that I do, etc., etc.,
Hmm.
it is a big situation. It is a big, 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 big problem.
How important do you think uh, gears are, like music gears are, for
Uh,
people who want to become musicians? They have, let's say, they have some basic gear, right? And do they have to keep buying, or is it the situation, based on the situation, or do you think it's good for them to keep buying new things?
Ah, okay. So this is very you're talking to a hoarder in a way because I've
Yeah,
never sold anything.
I'm
I've never sold
sure.
anything I've bought.
Uh,
Like for example, like now that so one very interesting story gear wise.
mm,
So that tape recorder that's
mm,
there, right?
yeah.
I heard Lucky for the first time on that tape recorder.
Oh yeah.
This used to be my granddad's room, and the
Okay.
tape recorder was there, kept there
Okay.
under that plug point. You see, okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I heard Suno and no Sifar, and then later what is it? Na Tum Jana Hum on that tape recorder,
Uh,
right? So that is how much of a hoarder I am when it comes to gear. It still works.
mm,
I still use it as a reference to master songs. That is still
mm-hmm.
like
Okay.
something that I'm very used to in terms of sound, right?
Mm,
So to answer your question, gear, see if depends on what you want to do, I would say.
okay.
Because I went down the path of like wanting to be able to not use VSTs and all for sounds as much as possible.
Mm,
I like having actual pieces of equipment that
mm,
do the work. So that's
right.
why the flute, the clarinet, the trumpet. I also have a Ravan Hatta here, which is the traditional Rajasthani instrument.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, nice.
that's that's this thing here.
What is it
It
called
is a very
again? Ravan Hatta.
Ra Ravan Hatta. So
Oh.
apparently, when Ravana visited Jodhpur,
Okay.
because I believe his wife is from somewhere there, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken,
Okay.
they had this instrument and they didn't have a string. So he basically cut his vein, and that is the representation of his
Ah.
vein.
Okay.
So that's the string that you play. This is
Right.
basically it's a bow. They generally have this jangly thing,
Ah.
and
Yeah.
right? So yeah, that's the main thing. So I like getting these because I personally this I bought off a guy who was playing it outside Jodhpur Fort, man. So I just picked it up.
Mm,
I told him, "Will you sell me one?"
mm,
He said yes, and
mm.
voila, this was very recently.
Okay.
So that's my thing with gear. It's like if you need it and you can justify that you need it, then you need it, right? Uh, like see, a better snare drum isn't necessarily a bigger snare drum. You know what I mean?
Uh, yeah. No,
Right.
that's correct. That's
What
correct.
is your
But
justification to it? Like,
yeah, so no, see, I think unless and until there is a situation which demands you to have it, I don't,
yeah,
in my personal opinion, I don't think it is justified.
yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So accumulating gear is that way. How justifiable is it?
No, so, but why I wanted to ask this question is sometimes people
Huh?
think that if you have better gear, you'll get better opportunities, like gig wise and all that. Do you think that's true?
Interesting. Um, well, I can have the best piece of wood in the planet, okay, but that doesn't mean I have the most comfortable sofa,
See, that is your opinion, but I'm talking about,
right?
do you think the world is like that?
Uh, yes and no. Yes, in the terms of like, say, you need audio equipment, you need to record, you're producing, you're doing all of that stuff. Then you need to have something that either is like so retro, like a tape machine, an actual
Hmm,
tape machine, 24 track, that your expertise in it, which makes gives you a unique sound,
hmm,
or you kind of have to invest in modern digital recording mediums like a You need a preamp, you need like, like things underneath it, you need things on top of it, you need things to convert it, to send it digitally to your computer, then you need speakers to hear it back, then you
Right.
need another set of speakers as a reference, because if you're doing mixing, etc., etc., these are things that you require.
What if you're a
Um,
guitarist?
if you're a guitar player, I guess you can make do with whatever guitar you sound the best with. If you feel like you need something bigger, better,
Mhm.
I think your guitaring sense will kick in as to saying why I need this. Like, okay, so I have these many
Mm.
because each one do a very. I don't have two of any kind of guitar except one. My old guitar is beginning to give way, so I need to
Okay.
replace that.
Yeah.
So that's the new. But other than that, like I have one acoustic, just
Okay.
one, no nothing else. I have
Okay.
one banjo,
Okay.
one jazz style guitar, hollow body guitar,
Okay.
one super strat,
Okay.
one Les Paul style guitar, one
Mm.
strat,
Mm.
right? And then there's one fretless bass, one
Mm.
Telecaster. That's it. This is all I have.
Okay.
And one nylon string guitar.
Right.
Like it's just one of each kind because each I cannot play like a nylon string thing on a steel string instrument.
Mm. Correct.
So I have one of each, and that is all, like, pretty much.
Correct.
And I still don't have certain types of guitars. I want to buy them at some point,
Mm.
but yeah.
But
So I believe.
so you think that a person with just, let's say, just a guitar and an amp
Hmm,
can actually go to a
hmm,
place and say, bro, this is how I play. This is me. It doesn't need to
yeah,
have like the best guitar there and stuff like that, right?
absolutely not.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for coming to coming on the show. Okay. And
Yes.
there's a lot to talk about, so I think we might do one more episode later on.
Oh, would love to. Would love to.
Okay. And yeah, that's it, man. Thank you so much for giving us your time. We loved having you there.
You're very welcome.
Okay. All right.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.